Jupie the Cow. A long, long time ago, when Grandpa was a little boy and we lived on the farm, we had a small dairy herd. Jupie was a calf born to one of the dairy cows, a Guernsey by breed. She was raised with care and attention, as were the other calves, but she was particularly friendly and neighborly. Jupie was basically a light brown cow with white spots. Her horns were cut off to prevent accidental injury to anyone standing nearby. After her first calf was born, she easily became a tame milk cow. Jupie was one of the last two cows we had, as our dairy herd dwindled from a half-dozen cows down to only two. Her friendly way won out, and we ultimately had only Jupie to provide our milk. She would have the run of the front yard, and if our dog Ring was not there to eat when his food was put in the bowl, she would slick up the offering. You can read about Ring on page 43. In 1946, our family moved to town, that is Clinton, Illinois, and Jupie came along with us. Although we lived in the house at 623 North Quincy Street, we had a 4-acre parcel of land only 5 blocks west of our house, but still within the city limits. We called it the Clay Street property. It did have a barn, and the pasture was partly on a hillside. My brother Tommy and I would take turns riding the bike to the Clay Street property, putting Jupie in the stall, and milking her. We would also have to feed and water her and sometimes clean out the portion of the barn we used for milking. We would then ride back home carrying the milk bucket on the handlebars of the bicycle. Sometimes quite a trick. The usual method of milking Jupie, or any cow, was to wash the udder, sit on a one-legged stool, and nestle your head into the flank of the cow. The bucket would be put between the legs, sometimes on the floor, but often just squeezed between the knees. Occasionally the cow would kick, and that problem was reduced by using some chains called kickers, which fastened her hind legs together. She would frequently swat us in the back of the head with the tail as she was trying to rid herself of the flies. If the flies were particularly bad, we would spray her with fly repellent. Sometimes she would step into the bucket, which ruined the pail of milk. However, all usually went well. Genevieve, Perry Risberg's wife — Perry is my cousin from Hayward, Wisconsin — thought Tommy and I were abused by having to work so hard as young boys. We did work hard, but I never felt abused. In fact, I'm thankful for the many lifelong lessons I learned by doing so. Additionally, those jobs have given me the opportunity to tell these stories to you. When we arrived home with the bucket of milk, we would strain it through a filter in a funnel and then pour the milk into glass bottles. The bottles were sealed with cardboard discs made to be used as bottle caps. We had some regular customers among our neighbors who purchased fresh milk from us. Barb and I still use some of these bottles to serve water to guests in our house. As the milk would sit in the refrigerator, the cream would rise to the top. The milk was raw milk in that it was neither pasteurized nor homogenized. Some of the cream was poured off, and we would use it on our cereal or on berries. We would also use cream to make whipped cream or butter. Have your parents show you how to do this sometime. We had butter molds from my Grandma Brandon, which were carved in wood with a fancy design on the inside top. The yellow butter was put into the mold, cooled in the refrigerator, and then pushed out, leaving the design in the butter. And I changed that to Grandma because we called her Grandma, didn't call her grandmother.